In this video, I will be going over things that I mentioned in my other videos, but for some reason my recorder just doesn't record these little boxes or these windows that are popping up. So because of that, I'll be making this video and I'll treat this as my intro to Photoshop basically. So to start, I'm going to go to File, New, and here I have my new document window. Here I have recent, saved, where you can customize your own if you need to. Um, Photos, prints, all these things. I stick with web. So if I go to web, I have these options, just because for the most part, these things are going to go on the web, for example. So you can have those options. You can use film TV, which is easier if you just want to stick with the 1080p or 720p formats. You do have those options. The only issue that I have with these is when I select one of these, go to create, I do have these rulers that you can clearly see. And so what I'm going to do, um, I can click and just move those to the side. If not, that's fine. I'll just go to File. Actually, I'll just close this. Don't save. To make it easier for the kids, I don't recommend using that. So I'm just gonna go to File, New, Web, and I'll stick with Web Small just so that in case there's a slow computer that can barely run Photoshop, well, this will be fine. Here's a resolution, which is the DPI. 300 is usually what's recommended if you're gonna send something to get printed. But we're not doing that, so 72 is fine. I stick with 100 just to get a little bit more less pixelized to make it a little bit better, to look better, basically. It's not going to make much of a difference as the photo is really bad, but yeah. Here's an orientation. Artboards, I'll go over that in a bit. This stuff you can just leave it as is. So I'm just going to click create, and here's this. And for artboards, I'll just do this one more time. I'm going to uncheck artboards and click on create. The only difference that I've noticed with artboards is that when I don't have artboards, I have this background layer, which is just white. It's locked, but if I double click it, it becomes layer 0. And now I can hide it if I wanted to. So for this, I can go, so with that done, I can go over here, and with artboards selected, you have this artboard 1 option, which is just kind of like a folder that contains all of your layers down below. But you do have a folder here to do the same thing. So I've never needed to use artboards, but in case you're wondering, that's what that is. Or at least I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, let me actually bring in a photo real quick. I'll just use use these watermelons. So here's my watermelon picture. I'm going to click and drag, hold Shift, hold Alt, and I can scale it down here from the middle or from the center of the document. I'm going to let go, press Enter, and I want to remove the background, the white background, I mean. Now, because my white background matches with my document's white background, it's kind of hard to see if I erased it enough or not. So I'm going to go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color, and just click OK. And here I can choose the color that I want. So if I just click and drag, I have color right here, but if I want blue, I can just click it here, or I can just left click and hold and just drag my mouse and get a color that I want. Maybe I want this blue, for example. Here, this is the hex number. Think of it as like an RGB value, R being 94, 98 for green, 253 for blue. RGB is just much easier. I mean, hex is just much easier to deal with because it's just this one row or column or whatever this would be called. But yeah, anyways, I'm just click OK. And I'm just going to click and drag this down here. And I'm going to let go. And before I do anything else, I'm just going to lock that color layer that I just added so that I don't accidentally move it or select it. So with my watermelon layer selected, I'm going to press W for my mask, for my magic wand, click, and if I press delete, I get this pop-up box that says that I cannot edit the photo because it's a smart object, which is just this little icon right here. So I'm just going to right click, rasterize. Now I can just press delete. And now that I'm done with that, I'm going to press V on the keyboard. And I want to basically be able to work on this. Let's say I wanted to draw on this now. Well, because I still have my mask or these moving ends, whatever you want to call this, selected, because I still have that, I cannot do anything to the picture because I still have, because I'm basically only working on this area that I selected earlier, and that's the area that I deleted. So I'm going to, let me undo this, and I'm going to deselect this. So to deselect things, go to select, deselect, and that's it. So I'm just going to move this down. Every single time I use a tool, whether it's my brush or my eraser or some other thing, once I'm done using it, like let's say I'm done zooming, I'm going to press V for violent or V for victorious, whatever, or just click on that move tool so that I can then select what I'm trying to work on or move what I got to do. That way I don't accidentally like maybe brush something or erase something without me knowing. But yeah, so anyways, now that I have this, maybe I want to change the color, or I'm not going to bother with erasing this, but let's say I want to change the color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my adjustment layer right here, click on hue saturation, and here's my window. One thing that I do not go over actually before I go any further is how to reset this. So you do have the option to customize your layout. But let's say, okay, I don't have my window. What am I going to do? Well, just go to Window, Workspace, and then Reset Essentials, which is the one that we have selected right now. So Reset Essentials, and there you go. I don't need to see this, so I can either click and hold and drag it over here, click on that X, or I can click on this these lines, whatever, and go to Close, and that's it. And let's say, okay, well, I kind of want more space up here. This could be up here. I can click and drag this, move it up here, let go, and I can move them around however I want, things like that. Adjustments, I don't need to see that because that's the same as these right here, basically, mostly these ones. But I do like having a tall set of layers. Anyways, so let me do this one more time. I'm going to click on my adjustment layer that I created earlier, delete that. So with my watermelon layer selected, I'm going to click on my adjustment layer, go to hue saturation, and here I'm just going to click and drag on this and all this stuff. And okay, well, it's changing my background color too. Well, if I mouse over, hold Alt, click, now it only applies to my photo. I go more in depth in this in the other video, but this is just, something very simple for now. Other things that the other videos, for some reason, didn't record my menu, like up here, something like black and white. So adjustment layer, black and white, and then I can, do whatever I want to it. But if I just want to apply it to my watermelon layer, this picture, I gotta click on that layer, whichever one it is, which is this one actually. Mouse over, hold Alt, and then click, and now it only applies to that. But yeah, you can hide if you need to, things like that. What else? Let's see. Filters, I don't really cover these in the videos, but I guess I'll just do it now actually. Filters are just pretty much self-explanatory. Go to filter, whoops, click on a layer first, go to filter, and then I can go to, say, we'll do pixelate, I guess. Crystallize, and my window popped up over here. So I get something like this. I can click and drag on the slider, and you can see that's very strong. Maybe a little too much. Let me zoom out a little bit. So there's my watermelon. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I want something like this. So this is pretty cool. Maybe I should have done a video on this. Maybe I will someday, but you do have those options, but they're straightforward, honestly. If I don't like that, I can just undo that with Control Z or Command Z. Oh, let me go over undoing and redoing. So let me make a layer, a new layer, I mean. Whoops, because I made a new layer, these things, my hues with these arrows, they're being applied to this now, and I don't want that. So let me move this down below, there. So here I have a new layer, it's blank. And with my brush, I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3. And I'm just gonna undo this with Control Z or Command Z on a Mac. And when I undo, it not only undoes it, but it redoes it. So basically, if I go to Edit, here's Control Z, undo brush, Edit, redo brush. Whoops, Edit, redo brush. So it's like a before, after sort of a thing. If I really want to just go all the way, continue going backwards, on PC it's Control Alt Z. Control Alt Z. Or just go to Edit, step backwards on the Mac. I kind of forgot. I think it's Command Shift Z, or maybe Alt Shift Z, not sure. But you'll see it's called step backwards. Let's see. We can ignore these for now. But yeah, let's see. I guess another filter that I'll just go over real quick is kind of fun. Let me do, where is it? Here we go. So I'll bring in this dude. Picture is probably a little too low quality. It's obviously a stock footage. That's fine. And what I'm going to do, let me rasterize this just in case it asks me to. With this picture selected, I'm going to go to Filter, Liquify. I like to do Liquify because it kind of gives it that weird fisheye look. I think that's what it's called. Let me move my window over here. And I'm just going to press B. And actually, let me zoom in. Press B. And I'm just going to kind of get an idea how big I want this to be. So something like that. I'm just going to click a little bit. Maybe it's a little too big. I'm going to go backwards. And, okay, there you go. So there I have that. So that's with the Liquify brush or the tool. You do have these other tools, pucker tool. What does that do? Okay. Cool. So yeah, you do have those options in case kids are bored or whatever. But yeah. I don't have videos on these just because they're just easy tools that really don't add much unless it's a part of a much larger thing. But yeah, hopefully this helps.